So ngayon, magluto tayo ng caldereta. This is a creamy white caldereta. Actually, recipe po ito ng nanay ko and pinagpaalam ko sa kanya, pwede ba natin i-share ito sa ating mga mahal na kaibigan? And syempre, ang kanyang sagot, sure, kung saan ka masaya. So simulan natin with the ingredients. First, pinainitan ko yung aking kasirola and then I'm going to put good butter. Good salted butter, around 2 to 3 tablespoons. So, igigisa natin yan sa butter. You put your good butter into your kaserola. 2 to 3 tablespoons. And then, I'm going to put a lot of onions. Madami talagang onions ang kanyang caldereta. And then, of course, kailangan daw is talagang you're going to sweat it. Palalabasin mong mabuti ang mga flavors. Maraming mga cooking terminologies, mga cooking techniques akong natutunan sa culinary schools at sa mga cookbooks. Pero of course, one of the most useful and trusted, syempre, ay ang mga cooking techniques at terminologies ng nanay ko. Dahil syempre, lumaki kaming kumakain ng talagang masasarap na home-cooked meals. That's why up to now and forever, I will trust her cooking skills, cooking techniques na itinuro niya sa akin. And isa na to dito, igisa mo ang sibuyas sa butter at lagyan mo ng konting asin hanggang magpawis or sweat the onions. So you will see, hindi mo daw susunugin yan dahil pagka sinunog mo yan, nag-iiba yung lasa. No? And then you put the garlic. Very simple. And then next, the chicken. This is one whole of chicken. One whole chicken na chinap lang namin pang stew. Okay, you put the chicken. This is evaporated milk. Water. And you just mix it. Okay? So makikita nyo, konti lang yung liquid na nilagay natin. Pero ang chicken kasi, magtutubig yan as it cooks, no? So don't be tempted to add more liquid. Otherwise, magiging masyadong masabaw yung iyong caldereta. You want it just with the right creaminess, no? So I'm going to season it with some patis, konting patis. And ang gagawin ko dito, tatakpan ko siya but a jar. Yung ganito lang. Okay, tatakpan mo siyang a jar like that until maluto yung chicken before we put the rest of the ingredients and before we season it. So after around 4 to 5 minutes, the chicken is almost halfway done. Makikita mo yan, may mga konting dugo-dugo pa. Ilalagay ko na ngayon yung aking potatoes. So of course, the potatoes, we cut it into pieces like this after peeling. And then to prevent discoloration, nilagyan namin ng tubig. You have to discard the water na nilagay mo. And then ilagay mo lang dyan. And then you put, turo ito ng nanay ko, isang sandok na suka. And pag nilagay mo yung isang sandok na suka, huwag mong hahaluin. You just leave it there. I'm going to cover it, a jar, yung may sumisingaw. Bakit kailangan may sumisingaw? Because you want the sauce to thicken. Gusto mong mag-reduce. Habang kumukulo, lumalapot yung sauce. You are removing the excess liquid in the recipe. So we're going to leave this for another 4 to 5 or up to 8 minutes hanggang yung chicken at yung potatoes natin will be thoroughly cooked and tender before we do the final seasoning and before we put the rest of our ingredients. So one of the many things that my mother taught me in the kitchen is kailangan titikman mo palagi yan. Maya't maya mo titikman. All of her recipes are guesswork or tansya. Ito syempre in-standardized ko, pero tinitikman ko pa rin. So now, yung ating patatas is almost tender. And yung chicken natin is almost cooked already. Ilalagay ko na lahat ng aking natitirang ingredients. You put garbanzos or chickpea. I'll just put half a can. Mushrooms. I'll put also just half a can. And eto, water chestnuts. I'll put the entire can kasi favorite namin maglagay nito sa kaldereta. And cheese. You put cheese. Grated processed cheese. Yung processed cheese, yan ang magpapalapot doon sa iyong stew. Okay, so you just mix it. O, diba? Festive na festive. I remember, kapag ordinary days, magluluto ang nanay ko ng chicken caldereta. Kapag ka-fiesta, special days, magluluto naman siya ng beef caldereta using the same recipe. Ang ginagawa niya lang, yung beef, pinapalambot niya muna yon ng mga 6 to 8 hours. Or pwede mo din i-pressure cooker if you want. Or you can also use pork ribs. And then, kung mapapansin mo, bakit walang paminta? Kasi ang nilalagay niya sa kanyang kaldereta, sili. So, yung sili, dudurugin mong ganyan, mga 2 piraso, because my late father, mahilig siya sa maanghang. Pero kinikwento niya, nung siya daw ay binata, hindi naman siya ganun kahilig sa maanghang. Pero nung napangasawa niya ang nanay ko, because my mother is Bicolana, na napakahilig niya sa spicy food, biglang nahiligan niya din ang maanghang. O, diba? So, put the sili, and then you just mix it. Now, I'm going to do a last and final simmer. Makikita mo, no? Yung sauce is lumapot nung nalagay mo yung cheese. I'll taste it again. Baka I need to put a little bit more of patis. Maybe some salt. Put more salt and just a splash of good patis. And I changed my mind. Ilalagay ko na lahat yung garbanzos. And yung mushrooms. Para bountiful yung ating kaldereta. So, I'm going to do a final simmer. Iiwan ko lang yan dyan. Walang takip. Pakukuluan ko ng mga 2 to 3 minutes just to let all the flavors intensify. And then, titikman na natin yan next. So now, let's taste. This is your creamy white caldereta. You can also put boiled eggs, by the way. Hard-boiled eggs. And then when we eat, I'll use this plate, i-recycle ko. Pag kumakain kami, we always have patis and sili on the side. Kasi hindi nga naman maganda na i-over season mo yung iyong ulam, because you can always adjust the seasoning on the table. So I put patis. Siyempre, papatikim ko to sa nanay ko mamaya kung pasado sa kanya. Pero nandun talaga yung flavor. Let's try the sauce, yung sauce mismo. Naluluha ako kasi nakakagat po ako ng sili. Pero I think that is part of the eating experience. Sa buhay talaga minsan, maluluha ka. Pero maganda yung ang magpapaluha sa'yo ay luha ng kasiyahan at sarap ng pagkain. 'Di ba? So yung sauce, I think mga 90% nakuha ko na. Maybe iba talaga yung hagod ng nanay ko sa pagluluto ng kanyang kaldereta. But I'm very proud na nakuha ko siya kahit 90%. And I'm sure makukuha nyo rin. So I'll see you and happy cooking!